we'll get started in just a couple minutes. We'll give everyone time to log in and get on. Make sure to post something in the comments. I'm seeing if mine will update. I always have trouble seeing the comments on mine. I need to figure out that problem. Go. Okay, I can see some of the comments now. Hello. Yeah, we'll go about 1 more minute. That's about 3 minutes to get everyone started, and we'll get started. All right, so I'm going to introduce myself and then I'll get over to my workstation. So you can see I have 2 cameras set up right now. The one where it's at my sewing machine, and then I have one at my pressing kind of workstation. Tonight there's actually no sewing, so I will take this camera off and I'll be strictly over at my pressing and workstation. So if you leave any comments, I have Dawn here. She can help answer some of those questions. If not, I will check the chat throughout tonight's live. But yeah, so I'm excited to be here and show you this project. I hope you like it. So let's begin. I'm going to move on over to the other space and we'll get started. Alrighty, so just a quick little show of what we're making tonight. These are 3-dimensional ornaments these are made with fabric. You can also, and I did put in the description, you can make these with paper. While I'm not making them with paper tonight, it's the same process. I'll kind of give instructions on how, if you just use paper, what you would need. For paper, you would need a thicker weight, like a cardstock. That would be your best bet to make that. But simply the construction of it is pretty much all the same. You can see I have different sizes. What's nice about this pattern is, depending on how you print it, you can scale it at 100%. This one is 100% scaled. And this one, actually, when I made them, I didn't even check if it was scaled right. So this was like shrink to fit, according to my printer. So it's just slightly smaller, but they both work. For tonight's live, I'm going to be showing you how to add the sparkles, because what is an ornament if it doesn't sparkle? And these have sparkles too. I'll show you what I used for those. They're a little harder to tell. So we are going to begin. First thing you'll need is, you can find the link in the description of the live, but you will need to print off the template. Now the template you'll have to download. It's from a middle school teacher. It's free though, so you just got to go in and click that you want to buy it, but it's a free download, so it's not really buying it. And print it off. And this is what it looks like. If you're using this for paper, you would decorate each of these strips and then cut them fully out. But for fabric, we don't even need to cut the template, because what's really nice is the material we're using is a extra firm craft iron-on adhesive, and you can see through it to trace it. So there's a few steps that we need to do. I'm going to start by tracing. This doesn't have to be the first step, but that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to find my ruler. I'll just make things a little easier to trace those straight lines. Now what I'm tracing is I'm tracing the perimeter, each of these inside lines. I'm tracing the dashed lines and all of these half ovals. So I'm going to trace those onto my HeatnBond extra firm craft interface. And this is what it looks like in the packaging. It's the extra firm. And while I'm tracing this, I am preheating my iron so that it is ready to go for a couple of different things we're going to do. Now, just for some insight on this, these are simple enough to make. I did these in paper form with 8th graders. So, have no fear. And they all did an amazing job in my class. And it's not even an elective they chose. So I have every 8th grader in the school. They don't have a choice. They have to take art. So there's some who want to be there. There's some who don't really care to be there. And every single one of them made one and succeeded, so you can too. Oh, that one did not trace. My pen's running out of ink. You could tape this down too with some tape. I'm just making it harder on myself. It's really important that you trace these just right, and you'll see why later on. All right, now that we've got that traced, we can set this aside. We don't need that. We can use it again for another ornament. And these come together really quickly. They'd be great for giving as gifts. So we're going to set that aside. What we need to do next is we need to make our fabric a little stiffer. So I'm going to press it just to get some of these creases out. So the project that this originally is intended for is for paper. So we want to create our fabric to be kind of paper-like. So we're going to use some HeatnBond fabric stiffener. I'm covering my workspace. You can do it on a different table, but I got it. I think I have an air bubble. There we go. Okay, so it does not want to come out right now. Sometimes the nozzle does clog up and you just have to like soak it in some hot water. And I don't have that right now, so I am simply going to take my paintbrush and paint it on. I think I have a foam brush. Okay. I'm just kind of, the foam brush is too big to go into the hole, so I'm putting it over my trash can so it doesn't spill all over the place. Should have tested it, but okay. Now with this fabric stiffener, you can let it air dry, or if you want to speed up the process, you can iron it. And that's what we're going to try to do tonight. Okay. Oh, sorry, just hit the camera. All right, so I'm gonna put this on top now. This is just some pressing paper, and that's so my iron doesn't stick to it. Okay. And I know you can't see it, but I can feel it. I can feel how much stiffer it is. So what we're going to do next is we're going to adhere the craft weight fusible with, you can kind of see it's shiny. That's the side we did not draw on. We're going to fuse it to the wrong side of our fabric, and mine is slightly too big when I was cutting. So we're going to trim it down. We don't want to get it on our pressing mat. So the craft weight and the fabric stiffener are creating a more paper-like stiffness to our fabric. While I'm doing this, if you choose to do paper, like I said, you would put this off on like a cardstock, and then you would color or create a design in each of these sections. You even like do it on the bubbles, the half ovals. Or you can simply do different color cardstock. Now, while I'm still pressing this, I'm going to talk a little bit. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to be adding some sparkle paste. It comes in like 14 different colors. It's awesome. So the one we're going to use tonight is called Snowflake. It's essentially a clear with a heavy amount of sparkles. But there are different colors, blue, every color in the rainbow. For this one, I used green on the trees that didn't have any color, so I added that green sparkle. For this one, I used a foam brush. I don't know if you can tell. You can see how shiny it is. I used the foam brush with the sparkle paste over the entire piece. So this one, there's sparkles everywhere. For tonight, we're not going to do that. We're going to just do it in very specific places. And I actually have one already prepped. I'll put it on here, but I have one prepped because you do have to let it dry. So I'm just making sure that my Fusible fused, and it did. Okay. So for this, since I'm picking and choosing where I'm going to use just a paintbrush. And I'm simply going to pick up some of this paste and spread it in the area that I want. So on this one, I'm going to do exactly the way I did it on the one I'm going to use tonight. I just put it on the bottom of the stockings. But like I said, if you want to cover the whole thing, a foam brush works really, really nice. So I kind of picked up a big chunk. I don't want that big chunk all right here. I've had this fabric for a couple of years. It was gifted to me, and I'm excited I get to use it now. Since I'll essentially be making 2 ornaments after this tonight. One will be for each of my children who love the content of this fabric. So I'll do a few more. I won't do them all here for you. I'll finish them later, but I'll pull the one that I have finished out. You can also, with the sparkle paste, use a stencil and I use like an old, it's not a credit card, but it's like a credit card or an old gift card to create the image through the stencil. You can do that as well. All right, last one. So, but in order for this to stay and not fall off, it is heat activated so that it, or heat set. So we're going to do that here in just a minute. So I'll come back to this at a later time, but I have one ready to go, ready for us. That's been drying, and I've covered each of those stockings with some glitter. To heat set the sparkle paste, you'll need some pressing paper, and you set it on high heat for about 60 seconds in each section. So it takes a little bit of time. So let's see, while that presses, I'm going to cut my string. We need string, it's an ornament. For these, I used a ribbon. For this one, I'm going to use some of the string. And I do have some wooden beads. Just got them. I got these a couple years ago. They always sell them at the dollar stores. They sometimes will have them with color, or you can buy wooden ones that you can paint. Or wooden ones might actually look really pretty in and of themselves. But we're going to do a white one. Feel like it just adds something. And also what we're going to need, so while this is pressing, you're going to need something, some kind of like glue. So when you're doing the paper version, I would just use school glue, white school glue. For fabric, you need something that's going to hold the fabric together. There's different options. You can use fabric fuse, but this is not a quick set. It takes a little bit of time for it to dry. And the fear of it coming apart while you're trying to bend things around wouldn't work too well. I just wanted to show it. I love it, but it's not that great for this. But if you have it, you might be able to get it to work. I suggest one of these peel and stick fabric fuse. They have one that comes in a roll or one that comes in a sheet. I am using the one from a sheet. This is what I have left of one of the packages. So we're going to use this little bit that I have left before opening my new one. Alrighty, so it is now heat set. So now what we got to do is we got to cut this out. So we are going to trim it. I'm going to get my cutting board, and I'm going to trim it around the outer rectangle, and then I'm going to trim it down these 2 lines. So you'll end up with 3 pieces. We're pretty much done with our iron now, so we're going to turn that off. My cutting boards are a little large, so we're going to just bring over a little handy dandy old kitchen cutting board. It'll do the trick for tonight. And my ruler and rotary cutter. And you could cut your HeatnBond craft to size, but I have found, I did that once, I have found that you want from edge to edge to have that backing. It prevents fraying, so cutting it just slightly larger than what you need is more beneficial. And notice I did not cut on that line. That was the dotted line for on the paper version. That is just a guideline for when we add the glue or the fabric adhesive strips. So now I'm going to cut each of the strips. And you could potentially fussy cut, kind of fussy where you want the different things. I did not think about that when I put these on, but I think it's actually going to turn out. So when I turn these over, it does. You can see I have a nice little row with my little creatures right in the center. Here they kind of got a little cut off, but that's okay because they'll still show up. And on here, they'll still show up. So I mentioned with the paper version, if you did it and you wanted to use different color cardstock, you could actually have 3 separate color strips and create something a little bit more dramatic. All right, so we have our 3 pieces. We do want to score these half ovals. So by scoring, I'm simply just going to use my pen or pencil. I'm going to like really draw on these lines to create an indentation without going through it. So when you do this with paper, you can score it with some scissors, you can score it with a pencil, just making sure you don't dig all the way through the paper. But you can see it's getting a little darker. I'm adding more pressure to this line by going back and forth. And the scoring is what's going to allow this fabric to fold inward on itself. We're essentially creating, or kind of pressing a curved little seam here with the pen. So we're going to do that to all 3 pieces. Now it's time for assembly. We're almost done. See how quick this was? So the first 2 of these strips is really easy. You are going to create a tube, and this line right here, that is what we're going to use our adhesive strips for. Let me get my little scissors. So I just eyeball it. And cut it the length of, you'll need a total of 3 of them. But for right now, we just need 2 to get started. So these are just have paper on both sides. Peel 1. And then we're going to peel it off. You can kind of see it's on there. And you can line up that edge with the edge of that line that you drew. And you're simply creating a little paper tube. You're going to do the same thing with one more. And then this is really the most challenging part, is the assembly, which it really is not challenging. But this video will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can go back and see how this is done over and over again if you need to rewatch it. So I just peeled the paper off. I'm going to create my tube like so. All right, with our tubes, we're going to insert one into the other. Now, if you can see inside the tube, those lines we drew, we want those to be on the top and bottom of each tube. We don't want them inside. So you might have to move these around, and you'll see why in a little bit. So right now we've got this kind of tube within a tube. This one, we're going to need to insert it into here. Now, I'm going to show you the wrong way. You see how, let's see. There is a wrong way. I'm trying to think of what it is. I want to show you the wrong way so that we can then do it the right way. We learn from mistakes. But that's correct. Okay, here it is. So my students, a lot of them went in this way, I think. I don't know. I'm just going to show you the right way. I thought if I could show you the wrong way. You're going to take it, create like a U shape, and you're going to insert it into these openings. So down through this side. So you're going over top this one and in through those. So if I can kind of just let it lay there so you can kind of see how that looks if you're creating one at home. So you've got your two tubes together, and then this one comes in around this one and through these ones. And they'll all interlock. If for some reason, like they start to fall apart, then something went wrong and just take it apart. That's what I was trying to do, but I can't seem to do it. Must mean my students did something funny and I don't know what they did, but somehow we fixed it. Okay, I'm going to cut one more strip. And we're going to put it in the same spot. And connect them. So once you do that, it's kind of like a puzzle. They're not coming apart. They are all locked together. If somehow it can come apart, then something went wrong and you should start over with the putting them together. Now what I'm going to do next is we talked about how those half ovals should be where you can see them. And that means I got to move some of these around ever so gently so that they are sitting, those half circles are sitting on top where you can see. It's almost there. All right, this is the fun part. And you don't want to do this part until you get them sitting in the right spot. The fun part is you get to pinch it on those creases that you made, and that gives you that look. So you start on one of the tubes and you push them inward. And sometimes you got to hand crease them if you didn't crease it well enough with your pen or your pencil. And there it is. So I'm going to go in and kind of finger press just those little corners until it's all right. And the stiffer that you can make your fabric, the better. The more paper-like, the better. So adding the sparkle paste is really great because it really stiffens it up. So there it is. Now to make it an ornament, all you simply have to do is take whatever you're using as your hanger, reach and put it underneath one of those loops, pull it through and tie a knot, but we're going to put it through we're going to put a little bead on it. I'm going to try to somehow manage to get this string through this bead. It should go through pretty easily. I got a ribbon to go through. Let's try one at a time. It's sitting right there. There it is. All right. Even it up. Tie a knot, make a pretty bow, whatever you want. And you have yourself a 3D fabric ornament. And now other ways you can do, if you don't want to do the sparkle paste, perhaps you want to add some glitter dust. This one, you can't really see it because it's hard to see on camera, but this one I sprayed with a glitter dust spray. Simply shake it, spray it, and let it dry. And there you have it. Tonight's Facebook Live. I think if you haven't already put a comment in the chat, go ahead and do that. We're going to pull a winner for tonight's live for a online gift card. And I'm going to go over and check the chat as well, since I haven't been over there all night. Been over here. All right. I'm just checking the chat, everybody. These work great for ornaments. You could even use them as in garland. They are quite addictive. They are quite fun to make. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I won't be having another live till January, so I hope to see you all then. But we do have one, I believe, coming up with our other educational designer, Lisa Rubel. So you got to check out her live too. And we have our winners. Congratulations, Vicky and Michelle. Thank you so much, everybody. I don't think I turned my video back on of myself. I'm just here talking. There. Thank you all again. I will get this uploaded to ThermOWeb's YouTube page. It will be on the Facebook page for a couple weeks, and then eventually they fade off because of how much data they are. So you can find this on their YouTube page where it will remain, so you can check back to see how to fold them or put them together. So yeah, thank you everyone and have a good night.